What if I told you there's a version of the gospel that flips our understanding of sin, salvation, and the very nature of humanity on its head? And what if the disciple who truly grasped this revolutionary teaching was a woman whose voice was almost completely erased from history? This isn't some far-fetched theory. It's the heart of a lost text discovered in the late 19th century, the Gospel of Mary. This ancient document doesn't open with grand miracles or familiar parables. Instead, it begins with a quiet, profound conversation between the resurrected Jesus and his disciples. He reveals a secret teaching that challenges centuries of religious dogma. He explains that everything in existence, from the highest heavens to the smallest speck of dust, originates from a single, unified source. Nothing is separate, and therefore nothing is beyond restoration. This leads to a radical redefinition of sign. In this gospel, Jesus teaches that sin isn't an inherited stain, a permanent mark of wickedness you're born with. It's not a moral failing that sentences you to eternal punishment. Instead, sin is described as a kind of spiritual amnesia. It's a state of confusion, a temporary misalignment where we forget our true nature and our connection to that divine source. Think of it like a musician playing a beautiful instrument that has fallen out of tune. The instrument isn't inherently bad or evil. It just needs to be recalibrated to produce the right harmony again. This idea fundamentally changes our relationship with the material world. For centuries, many religious traditions have taught that the body is a prison for the soul, that matter is corrupt, and that earthly existence is something to be escaped. But the Gospel of Mary says no, matter is not evil. The body is not your enemy. Creation itself is not a fallen, corrupted realm. The problem isn't our physical existence. The problem is forgetfulness. When we forget our divine origin, we become entangled in passions and attachments that cause suffering. We act out of alignment, creating chaos for ourselves and others. The solution, therefore, is not to punish the body or escape the world, but to remember who we are. After sharing these final, powerful teachings, Jesus departs. And what happens next is incredibly human. The disciples who just received this incredible wisdom are immediately overcome with grief and fear. They weep, saying, "How are we to go to the Gentiles and preach the gospel of the kingdom of the Son of Man? If they did not spare him, how will they spare us?" Their reaction is completely understandable. They're facing a hostile world. They fear persecution, rejection, and even death. Their survival instincts kick in, and they're paralyzed by anxiety. It's in this moment of crisis, when the men are lost in their fear, that Mary Magdalene steps forward. But she doesn't stand up to scold them or to claim authority. She doesn't say, "I'm in charge now." Instead, she does something far more powerful. She comforts them. She reminds them of what Jesus just taught. She turns their minds back to the light, saying, "Do not weep and be grieved, nor be irresolute, for his grace will be entirely with you and will protect you." She encouraged them to focus on the good within, to find the peace and strength that Jesus has already placed inside them. Mary's leadership here is not based on power or position, but on understanding. While the others are trapped in the emotional turmoil of fear, she holds on to the core of the teaching. Fear does not lead the way. Understanding does. She becomes the anchor, the one who reminds them of their true nature when they have once again forgotten. This part of the gospel quietly dismantles the foundations of a fear-based religion. It suggests that faith isn't about appeasing an angry God or following rules to avoid punishment. Instead, it's a journey of restoration, of remembering our connection to the divine. So why does this ancient text feel so relevant today? Because so many of us are living in a state of spiritual exhaustion. We're weighed down by guilt, shame, and the constant feeling that we are fundamentally broken, flawed, or not good enough. We're told we are born sinners, that our desires are inherently wrong, and that we must constantly fight against our own nature to be worthy of love or salvation. This creates a cycle of self-judgment and anxiety that can be incredibly damaging. The Gospel of Mary offers a profound and liberating alternative. It speaks directly to that feeling of being broken and says, "You are not." It offers a message of deep, unconditional acceptance. First, it tells us that you are not evil by nature. Your essence, your core self, is divine and good. You are a part of the unified whole. Any sin or mistake is simply a temporary deviation from that nature, not a permanent stain upon your soul. Second, your body is not the enemy. It is not a sinful vessel to be disciplined and despised. It is the instrument through which your spirit experiences the world. The goal isn't to escape your body, but to bring it into harmony with your spirit, to live in a way that honors both. And third, healing and salvation don't come from external punishment or absolution from an outside authority. Healing begins with remembering. It starts with turning inward to reconnect with that divine spark that has been there all along. It's a process of self-discovery and realignment, not self-flagellation. In this view, faith is not about punishment avoidance. It's about realignment. It's about tuning your instrument back to its perfect pitch. It's about clearing away the fog of confusion, fear, and forgetfulness to see the light that has always been within you. This gospel invites us to move from a religion of fear to a spirituality of remembrance, from a focus on our brokenness to a celebration of our inherent wholeness. But as you might imagine, not everyone was ready to hear this message. In the next part, we will explore the dramatic conflict that erupts immediately after Mary speaks. We'll see how the other disciples react to her wisdom, leading to a powerful confrontation that reveals the deep-seated tensions in early Christianity, tensions between fear and understanding, between external authority and inner knowledge, and between the voices that were amplified and the ones that were silenced. The story is far from over. If you found this perspective insightful, please hit the like button and subscribe. What happens after death? This is a question that has haunted humanity for millennia. But what if one of the earliest answers was considered too dangerous to keep? What if it offered a path to freedom so radical that it had to be silenced? This is the story of the Gospel of Mary. First, we explore the discovery of this incredible lost text. Now, we dive into its most controversial and powerful teaching. Mary of Magdala steps forward to share a vision Jesus gave her privately, a vision of what happens to the soul when it leaves the body. She describes an ascent, a journey. But this isn't a journey through heavens and hells guarded by angels and demons in the way we might imagine. Instead, the soul travels through its own inner landscapes. It confronts four powerful forces, or what the text calls powers. These powers aren't external monsters. They are the very things that bind us in life: desire, ignorance, fear, and the wrath of the world, which represents the illusion of solid reality. These powers don't attack the soul with violence. They try to trap it with confusion. They whisper, "Where are you from? And where are you going?" Trying to pull the soul back into the cycle of forgetting. They want the soul to identify with its old attachments, its old story. And how does the soul escape? Not through ritual, not through blind obedience to a priest or a doctrine, not by belonging to the right group. The soul escapes through knowledge, gnosis. It's an intimate, self-realizing awareness. The soul says, "I know you. I see what you are. You are a part of me, but you are not me. I am free from you." By recognizing these forces for what they are, projections of the mind, not ultimate realities, the soul dissolves their power and continues its journey toward reunion with the divine source. This is a radical message. It places the key to salvation directly in the hands, or rather the consciousness, of the individual. It suggests that our inner state, our level of awareness, is what determines our ultimate destiny. And it is right here, at this very point in the manuscript, that the conflict explodes. Peter, the rock upon whom the church would be built, stands up and challenges Mary directly. He is incredulous. Did the Savior really speak with a woman in private and not openly to us? Are we to turn around and all listen to her? Did he prefer her to us? His questions drip with skepticism and a defense of hierarchy. Peter represents the emerging institution, the structure, the idea that spiritual authority must be public, official, and passed down through a designated lineage, a lineage of men. He cannot accept that Jesus would have shared such a profound, secret teaching with a woman, and not with the chosen male disciples. Andrew, another disciple, chimes in, agreeing with Peter. He says, "I at least do not believe that the Savior said this, for certainly these teachings are strange ideas. They are strange ideas because they bypass the need for an external authority. If every soul has the innate capacity to know God directly and to liberate itself through inner knowledge, what is the role of the priest, the bishop, the institution?" This is the uncomfortable truth at the heart of the Gospel of Mary, and it's likely why it was suppressed. The Gospel teaches that authority does not belong exclusively to institutions. Salvation cannot be controlled, packaged, and distributed by a select few, and enlightenment, true spiritual awakening, is an internal process, not something that can be enforced from the outside. Mary's teaching, her very presence as a spiritual leader favored by Jesus, threatened a system that was beginning to be built on control, on hierarchy, and on a certain kind of spiritual dependence. Her message was one of radical empowerment. It told people, the power is within you, the kingdom is within you. You don't need an intermediary to find it. For an institution seeking to unify and command a growing movement, this level of individual freedom was dangerous. So how does this ancient conflict apply to us today, 2,000 years later? We may think we've moved past these issues, but have we? We still live in a world that is largely ruled by the same forces the soul encounters in Mary's vision. Think about the fear narratives that dominate our news cycles, our politics, and even our religions. We are constantly told what to be afraid of: other people, economic collapse, divine punishment. Fear is a powerful tool of control. It keeps us small, dependent, and looking for a savior outside of ourselves. Think about the systems of control that operate through guilt. Many religious and social structures teach us that we are inherently flawed, born into sin, and that we need to constantly work to earn worthiness. This guilt keeps us striving for an external validation that is always just out of reach. And think about our obsession with the external validation of our spirituality. We look for the right guru, the right church, the right book, the right workshop. We collect certificates and attend retreats, hoping that something or someone on the outside will finally fix us or give us the enlightenment we seek. The Gospel of Mary cuts through all of this. It invites us to turn inward and ask some deeply personal and potentially unsettling questions. Am I living from a place of fear or from a place of understanding? Are my choices motivated by what I'm afraid of losing, or by a deeper wisdom and love? Do I truly know my own faith, my own spiritual path? Or am I just following a set of rules and beliefs that I've inherited without question? Have I had my own experience of the divine, or am I just borrowing someone else's? And finally, is my spirituality awakening me, or is it controlling me? Does it make me feel more free, more expansive, more compassionate? Or does it make me feel more judgmental, more constrained, more guilty, and more afraid? This gospel isn't calling us to rebellion against institutions. It's not about throwing out all structure and tradition. Levi, another disciple, actually defends Mary in the text. He tells Peter, "Peter, you have always been hot-tempered. If the Savior made her worthy, who are you to reject her?" He then encourages them to go forth and preach the true gospel, the one of inner peace and understanding. The call isn't for rebellion, it's for awareness. It's a call to integrate this lost dimension of the teaching. It suggests that a healthy spirituality includes both the outer community and the inner journey, the structure and the freedom, the masculine and the feminine. So what is the final takeaway from this remarkable resurrected text? The Gospel of Mary is not about replacing the Bible or rejecting Christianity. It's about recovering a vital piece of the puzzle that was lost. It's about restoring balance. It points toward a faith without fear, one that isn't based on threats of damnation, but on the promise of inner knowing. It speaks of a soul that has the power to remember itself, to recognize its own divine nature, and shed the illusions that bind it. It offers a vision of spirituality that heals us from our trauma and our self-judgment, instead of enslaving us in new forms of them. And most movingly, it is the story of a powerful female voice at the very heart of the Jesus movement that was deliberately silenced. A voice that is now, after 2 millennia in the dark, speaking to us once again. And it asks us simply to listen. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the Gospel of Mary. If these ideas resonated with you, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss our next exploration into the lost worlds of ancient spirituality. See you next time.